Good morning, everyone. It's Christmas Eve, and this is the first Christmas Eve in my 64 years of life that I have not been in Minnesota. On Delridge Road, eagerly awaiting all of my booty under the Christmas tree, tearing the packages apart to see what my generous mother and father gave me. And actually, let me see if I can find it. One of the things my mother gave me one year is right here. This was an Eberhard Faber, I think, pencil that takes this big fat lead, and it's made of hard rubber, and it's about the size of a tent stake, and somehow I managed to break it in half. So a little electrical tape was all it needed to make it whole again. So anyway, I'm here in Boston on New Year's Eve, and I am going to turn this light off because it's not helping. And I'm sitting here playing with pens when I should be sleeping or something. I don't know what. So I'm digging through pens that I can fix, and I'm thinking of sending some off to Peter Draws, whose drawings I love to see, and I thought he might enjoy some really, really fine nibbed pens. Boy, this lighting is awful. It's so frontal. It doesn't have the dramatic shadows that I normally like. Whenever I'm fixing pens and trying them out on my 100-year-old ledger paper, 130-year-old ledger paper, I'm always trying to find a spot that isn't written on, and also that doesn't have crumbs of 100-year-old pen sack that I'm driving over with my nib, sort of like those big truck ads you see on TV where your big beefy Chevy Made in America truck goes through the puddle, splashing water, and it goes over a pebble. They have the camera zoom lens or something so that these pebbles look like boulders. Anyway, that's what it's like when I'm drawing on this. I'm carving through the debris field. Let me just sweep most of it off. Can I do that, do you think? I tell you what we'll do. We're going to get a new page. Listen to that sound. That's what paper is supposed to sound like. Now, why is this person's name crossed out? Joseph Grady was removed and S.W. Woodward was put on. Did Joseph Grady have to enter the Witness Protection Program in 1891? Was he part of the Teapot Dome scandal or something? Look it up. Void. This bookkeeper is making lots of mistakes in their bookkeeping. Now, this is not right. This is a San Andreas fault that goes through my house, and there we go. This is better. I love the sound of that. Hear that? That's crushed debris of pen sacks underneath this paper. So anyway, here are 2 pens that I'm going to, maybe 3 pens, that I might send to Peter Draws. And he's been using, I sent him a pen a couple of years ago, which he liked very much, and I made a gift to him of it. And I might make a gift of a pen to you, or you, or you. You, never. But you, maybe, prove to me that you deserve a gift of a pen. Write your answers below. Dear Mr. Gustafson, I want a free pen from you because... ... You figure it out. You write it down. Now, Peter Draws has an amazing channel on YouTube where his name is Peter, and he draws. So there's no mystery there. He's kind of a nut, but we all are, and he's a good entertainer, which some of us are, and he loves drawing. He pronounces the W is on the second syllable rather than the first, or ignored by most of us. Drawing is how most of us do it. There's sort of a silent W in there. I suppose I could dip this in ink. Do I have ink here? I just have slightly watered down, or very watered down ink, or slightly dirty water at this desk. But he puts the W on the second syllable, so it's drawing. So he does these great drawings. It almost sounds like he puts a W in front of the R too. No, he doesn't. It's not like that. Drawings. Anyway, he does his drawings with various pens, and they can be Sharpies, they can be ballpoint pen, they can be fountain pens. He got into fountain pens in a big way after I sent him this Venus. It was similar to this pen here, the Venus President. Is that what this is? This might be the same pen that I sent him. And he has subsequently bought a number of pens. He went to a pen show and bought a Waterman 55, which is a larger sized pen than most, and really loves the flexible 100-year-old nib that it has. And he recently said that, I think he said in one of his reviews of his favorite pens, that was his favorite. So I know he has good taste. But I thought one of the things that I'm trying to, and I think he would enjoy this, trying to get other people, including, I don't think I have to convince him, but the idea of a really, really fine nibbed pen with maybe just the slightest hint of flexibility. And I think that, his drawings look like if you took Albrecht Dürer and Peter Max and had a love child between them, you'd get Peter Draws. Because he draws with as many lines as Albrecht Dürer's etchings and engravings and wood blocks have. I guess they're wood blocks. But they have the sort of curvy patterning that Peter Max would often use in his paintings and his drawings and his graphics. Except they're all black and white, so he's more like Dürer than Peter Max, but there's a lot of Peter Max in there anyway. And I thought a drawing that he uses a normal pen with that is, 6 by 8 inches big in his notebook, he could draw with this pen, with this really, really fine nibbed pen, and he can make it maybe the size of a postage stamp. Maybe not quite. It all depends on how lightly his touch is and how fast he makes the line. These pens work, as I've said many, many times, the finest line you get is when you make a fast line, a fast, long line on a piece of paper, and where you're barely touching down. Think of this as an airplane, a 747, and you're trying to land it on a runway that's a little too short. You have to get those wheels right on the first 20 feet of tarmac before you, if it's 21 feet, you're going to go off the cliff into the Pacific Ocean. So you have to be accurate and fast. And you have to, if you don't make it, you have to take off really, really fast. So that's sort of what this to make a really, really fine line, you have to sort of imagine you're a 747 trying to land, and you have to take off right away. Is that the right analogy to use here? Now, you can't be entirely accurate. Let's say I wanted to make a line that starts here. This is the starting line of my marathon, and it ends here. If I go fast, okay, well, that didn't work. How do I land? How do I make it start right at that line? And a lot of Peter's drawings and a lot of Durer's drawings and Peter Max's drawings and almost everyone's drawings, they start and they finish where they want to start and finish. The lines, don't go over the line, and they don't start too late. They're more accurately drawn. And to do that and be as fine as you can be sometimes requires a lot of practice, or you fail. Now here, I'm doing not a bad job. My hand is memorizing. I'm not looking. I'm not using my eyes, really. So that works. But, it's all fuzzy here and fuzzy down here. I don't draw accurately. Anyone can draw accurately. I draw with feeling. I'm paraphrasing the opening lines of Importance of Being Earnest, where Algernon is playing the piano and his manservant comes in with a cucumber sandwich or something. And, "Did you hear what I was playing, Lane?" "No, I didn't think it polite to listen, sir." "I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately. I play with feeling." So I draw with feeling. I don't draw accurately. So I thought I'd also send Peter draws. So these are 2 pens I might send Peter draws to try out. Someone sent him a pen that was very, very expensive, and they didn't give it to him. A lot of people do give him things, like I did. But he got a pen from a company that was a couple $1,000 pen, and he had to return it. And I said, I'd love to send you some pens for you to try out, but I can't afford to give them to you. Not that these are tens of dollars. They're not hundreds of dollars, let alone thousands of dollars. But I really can't afford to give a pen to him. But I'll send him some pens that I think he might enjoy trying out to see the difference the range of what these older pens can do. And you love flexible nibbed pens, and those are very seductive, very easy to love. But a fine nibbed pen you might not love right away, and you might never love it. But if you're a sensitive person, you'll make this line that I just made, and you're saying, that is just amazing. Let me do that again. That wasn't the exact same. Anyone can calligraph accurately. But look at that. It's just a delight, this pen. This one, and I also want to send him, fountain pens these days are really big, hunking things. They're sort of like that pencil my mother gave me. They're quite often big and chunky like that. And there's no reason for them to be big and chunky like that. They don't have to do that. But when you charge $2,000 for a pen, you want people to immediately see that, that's why it's $2,000, because it's big and chunky. This one is neat. It's another Schaefer, very smooth. Another thing that Peter does is he's an equal opportunity directional drawer. He pushes as much as he pulls. I'm a puller. He's a pusher. More of a pusher and a side-to-sider. He makes his line, and if it goes in that direction, that's where he starts here and goes that way. I might start here and come down so that I can take advantage of the flexibility. I can't take advantage of the flexibility going uphill. So, but this pen, many Schaefer pens have a very rounded nib to them, and I often will let lefties try these out first because I know that they're going to be smooth for them. But I'm just wondering, and I think, going uphill will be fine, but of course he can't press down going uphill because he'll break the nib or rip the paper or something. But I just want to give him pens that will be good going in that direction for a long period of time. Not just an upstroke and then back down, but an upstroke that goes like this all the way around. So a Schaefer pen will be good for that. Now this is a pen. The reason that it's in a drawer and has not yet been fixed is the threads here are almost completely gone. And some previous owner the cap kept falling off. So what they did, the previous owner did, they took a piece of cellophane tape, Scotch tape, wrapped it around here, sort of pushed it down a lot so that the whole barrel area and the threads got a little thicker. So it actually holds on now, even though there's I can see that there's tape there. Does that bother me? No. I could throw the pen in a drawer and never use it, or I can leave the tape where it is and fill it up with ink and put a sack on the pen and do all sorts of wonderful drawings. So this is a pen that, again, if I were to send this off to someone to try out a pen and it got lost in the mail, the pen collector in me would not grieve its loss. The pen user in me, of course, will be very sad, but pens like this that are, there's some sort of cosmetic or structural damage. This is sort of in between structural and cosmetic. There could actually even be a crack under there. I don't know. I haven't taken the tape off. That might be another reason, but I think it isn't. Let me show you another pen that has. Okay, where are you? No. I had it right here. Where did it go? No. No, no. No, no. Come on, Pierre. Here? It's here. It's not this one. It's the other one. This one. I've got two of these pens. They're almost identical. They're little, whatever these are, Taper-Rite garland pens, I think they called this pattern. And this one is bent like a banana. And like Ray Comfort's banana being made by God because it fits in your hand, he might like this pen because it fits in your hand. It's bent up like this, so it actually is really quite interesting. And I have another one that's bent the other way, and it's sort of fits in my hand in a really cool way. So why am I telling you this? Oh, cosmetic problems. Yes, if you brought that to a pen show and showed it to 9/10 of the people there, they would laugh and make fun of you and say, they'd gossip. You hear the guy with the banana pen, and they'd laugh and make jokes. I, on the other hand, would shake your hand. I would say, you've got balls. And if you were cute, I'd say, what's your phone number? Do people say that anymore? Pierre, think. What were you going to say? So, again, this is a pen that a collector wouldn't care about its loss, and so I might send this to Peter. And I'm going to tell him that these pens have issues. I'm not going to hide the fact. I'm not selling them to him. He's just going to try out the nibs. It's the nibs that I think he'd like. The other thing I want to show him, or let him try, is the thinness and the balance of some of these pens. God, I hate this lighting. It's like I'm at the morgue and I'm on the autopsy table, and somehow even though I'm dead, my nervous system is still playing with pens. Probably will happen. But I also thought I would send him a pen like this one, the Wall Eversharp pen here. This has a big dent right there where the Stockholm ran into it. On its way to the Andrea Doria, the Stockholm hit this pen, bounced off, and changed its course to the Andrea Doria. This one has a name on it that someone tried to rub off, and I guess maybe they even hated it so much that they took a hammer to it. Laverne? No, Cavern. Kevern. Cavern? Is that a name? It's interesting. I in looking at the engraving under a loop, I see where some of it has been rubbed off, but there's little dots. And these dots were what the engraver did to lay out the lettering, and then he later went in with his engraver and made a solid line out of connecting those dots. But now it's been rubbed down so that the solid line is missing, but the little stipple marks that was used to line up the letters are still there. So I learned something today when I saw this under the loop. So I'm thinking, Peter might really like a pen that has this weight with this thickness, and it might really make him think this is really kind of cool. Another pen I might send to him might be a Parker 45. I have one here that has a very, very fine nib. I don't know if this is the one. And again, there's nothing sexy about these pens, but it's a different feel. These are all going to be different in anyone's hands. Even if their nibs were identical, if somehow their nibs all had the same fine and the same slightly flexible nib, each one of these pens, because of their weight, their size, their diameter, will work differently in your hand. And in addition to that, your eyeballs looking at this or this may make you think differently. You might be, drawing away and drawing away, and the light will hit the little iridescent brown stripe in one way, and it'll cause you to smile a little bit more, and you'll make that line just a little bit more curly. Pretend that's graceful and curly instead of clumsy. And it's because I'm smiling. Whereas if I'm making that same line or doing that same drawing using this pen, and I don't have these little sparkles of iridescence, I guess that's iridensality. What's the word I want? Not invigorating, but playing footsie with my eyeballs. My rods and cones are being toyed with. That's what's happened with this one, but because that's not happening with this one, maybe my smile won't happen, and my mind will continue making that line more exact and draw differently. I know that I draw differently depending on the kind of pen I have. Not just the nibs type, but the thinness of the pen, the lightness of the pen, the length of the pen, all of that makes me, I might draw the same thing, I might draw the same composition, but I might draw using 20 more lines if I'm using this pen than I would be if I was using this pen. There might be some slight, maybe just the joy of holding this pen will cause me to make the drawing have 20 more lines, because I get to draw 20 more lines with it before I put it down. Again, if all of these nibs were absolutely identical, this physicality of this pen is different than the physicality of this pen. And the drawing, the result will be different. If everything was equal to this point in time-space continuum, and we have a multi-universe, and suddenly peer splits into two, and one of them picks up this pen to do a drawing, and the other peer picks up that pen to do a drawing, these drawings will be different. Even if we're looking at exactly the same thing, nothing else changes in the world other than the pens that I chose to draw with, they are going to be different. And I wonder, I've asked this of writers who use the pen to decide which word to use blah, 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 blank, blah, 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 blah. Let's say in their story they're writing, this and this will not change. But the word in here, let's say they want the word to, let's say, I know that every word conveys so many different subtleties. I have a feeling that the words won't change, but maybe as I'm writing with this pen and I choose this word, X, and then part of this sentence will change slightly. And then I'll go back to the rest of the story. But because of this slight change, there may be other changes that happen, and, poor Gwendolyn dies of consumption rather than marrying the handsome Duke with the aquiline nose, and the big white horse, or whatever he has. If the Harlequin romance author was using this pen, and everything is up to this point, it's this word right here, and the author chose a different word, this ends up with consumption, and this one ends up with the happily ever after. But I don't know that. I'm not a writer. Are you a writer that uses fountain pens to actually convey your thoughts? Maybe it's something that it's not so much a sentence that changes, a word that changes. Maybe it's just you're writing in your diary or your journal and you're using a pen that has a finer nib. Maybe that makes you think more exactly. And rather than saying it was very warm today, you say it was in the upper 60s today. And if it was a really, really fine accountant nib, you might say it was in the upper, the high was 64 degrees and the dew point was blah, blah, blah. And you'll be very, very detailed because you're using this little tiny nib. And if you were using a big fat nib, this is a pencil, I know that, but a big fat pen, you just say fucking hot and call it a day. So I think that pens will change the way you draw and write. Even if all of the nibs were absolutely identical. This fatter pen is going to make you draw differently than this thinner one. These striped ones will make you draw differently than this plain one. What do you think? I know you don't have any opinion about this because you don't even care. Why are you even subscribed to my channel? But all of you other people, what do you think? Bye.